Nothing like the hand-built one that I dug, because it's had a digger down it now, but still there.
A little bit of salt there, Tim.
Famous people we've guided.
Yeah, tell us about all the famous people that you've put through the books.
Yeah, like Colin McRae and Orlando Bloom.
That was the bike I wanted more than anything. I'm gonna say like 96 sort of time. Brooke McDonald, Brendan Fairclough, Bernard Kerr, Elliot Jackson, good friend of the shop.
Doing the backpacking thing, North America and Canada, and then came here. We had to earn some money and arrived here, and it was like, whoa, this place is pretty cool.
Came here in 2005 for a holiday with my friend Paul Smale.
Got my bike posted out, had to have it, got jobs at McDonald's.
So we got here just before Christmas, bought a van in Christchurch, and then had our downhill bikes arrive, built them up. And then, yeah, we just like got a New Zealand race license, and the first place we came once we got the van was Queenstown, because we were told about the dream track basically. And at the time I was like really into like hitting jumps and stuff like that. So
meeting lots of people that, you know, were part of the scene. It's a very small scene back then, and just loving it. Pushing Skyline Access Road up to 3 times a day. Yeah, it's just awesome. Just such a buzz, and young as well, right? Yeah, early 20s, and life's just amazing.
We made a beeline for Queenstown. Like, we got directions to Dream Track, and like, yeah, and did a bunch of riding here before the race season started. And that was really how it all began, to be honest. Like, then straight to Queenstown, and I had the best summer I've ever had that summer. It was like raced the whole national series. It was just like a traveling circus. I think that year they did 3 or 4 races in the South Island, then there was a week gap, then there was like 3 or 4 races in the North Island, and everyone just like took the summer. It felt like the whole downhill series population took the summer off and just travelled from race to race. Just yeah, racing bikes each weekend in a different town, having a big party on the Saturday night after the race, like destroying the town.
Like you'd ride the walking tracks, essentially illegally, but they weren't very busy. So you'd push up the access road, ride the walking tracks down, and then if you had a trail bike, I think I had a GT STS, but it had a triple ring on it, so I could pedal it as well. So we'd go out and ride the other walking tracks, which are out of town that way, but they were just singular tracks that now off those we've got multiple trails, you know.
And then when I went back to the UK, riding bikes wasn't the same for me after that. So I was like, I'm coming back to New Zealand.
So yeah, there's lots of do-it-yourself biking, shuttling some of the other tracks that are up Coronet Peak, like a lot of people know Zoot Track. That's been widened and made with jumps now, but that was just a little gold miners track, one of the original gold miners tracks to get into Skippers. Got a job in a local shop that's still here called Small Planet, and the owner, Daryl, he employed me, he helped me get my residency, and he also sparked off the impetus to get Vertigo rolling. Another friend I'd made, Luke, he was a graphic designer, so he decided at the time that he'd like in as well, and all 3 of us went thirds on setting up Vertigo Bikes. So it was a graphic designer, somebody that already had a sports shop, somebody that had nothing but was passionate about the mountain biking side of it. And I was, like a lot of people that try and get jobs in bike shops, I was doing my own mechanics. So yeah, that was the start of Vertigo. We got at least a property opposite Small Planet, a shop, and bought a fleet of giant warps. They were a bike. And off we went. Summer of 99, 2000. Part of the shop was setting up, well, part of the business was setting up a heli bike operation over the Remarkables. So we got all the official consents, dock consents and guiding consents and insurances to be able to guide people on a heli bike ride. That summer we weren't operating on Skyline. That's something I thought about, having meetings with Skyline, turned down initially to guide. And then a year later, after badgering them and saying, hey, this isn't you giving public access, can we just try and get a commercial operation going, and we'll build a specific track. They finally relented. Obviously they charged us for the privileged. And we got a guiding operation going in 2001 on Skyline, on a purpose-built downhill track, which is Vertigo, which is still part of the bike park. Sorry, Ben Lomond Trails. And nothing like the hand-built one that I dug, because it's had a digger down it now, but still there.
A little bit of salt there, Tim.
Not at all. Not at all. No. It's all good. It's all good.
The first job I got was at Vertigo, actually. So my girlfriend at the time, Tim used to babysit for her, so she knew Tim, and Tim lost a member of staff. We had to go back to the UK, so she said, "Oh, Paul's here. He's got mechanicking experience. If you need someone to give you a hand." So yeah, she got me the job here, and yeah, and that was it. And it was just part time to start with, and then the following summer, I got full time. And yeah, then after working here for maybe 5 years, 5 years, I got the opportunity to become partner with Tim in the shop, which I obviously grabbed with both hands.
And she got him a job, saying, hey, you can pay work a summer. And he was great, and ended up working multiple summers. I think he did 4 or 5, and then brought a lot to the business, had loads of ideas, was younger than me, and yeah, bought in. So yeah, he's equal with me now.
And then, I spoke with Angus a little bit about how the shop has changed over time, different incarnations, I suppose, of the shop over the years. But
yeah, I mean, just being down with the kids, seeing what the market wants. We ran a mountain bike school for 7 or 8 years there, where we all got our PMBI qualifications, did that. We had Vertigo Bike Box at the top of the gondola, but having a facility at the top of the gondola just didn't work. It was basically handing out free tools, which, is nice to help people out, but you're also paying rent on the site, so it's just total loss.
Has it always been reactive, or is it just a case of seeing what's happening and going with the flow?
I think we're not clever enough business people to not be anything but reactive here in the shop, but we've just always just stuck to what we love doing the most, and just stuck to sticking to our passion, and just going with the flow with that. But initially the shop was, when I first started here, it was more guiding than anything. There was a workshop that sold bikes, but we did guiding as well, downhill guiding, heli biking and that sort of stuff. So I mean, that was great few years doing that when I first started. And then the scene was really small. The biggest change was the bike park opening, which everyone I'm sure can agree, that just initiated this whole new kind of tourism and wave of people coming to town to ride. And all of a sudden, you didn't need guiding anymore to go downhilling in Queenstown. You could just go to the bike park. So we sort of had to saw that side of the business was going to disappear a bit. So we sort of threw our eggs in another basket and did more kind of bike rental and that sort of stuff, and focused on workshop and sales a bit more. And then just over the years, it's just been, like you say, reactive is the perfect word. It's just been, as we've sort of noticed the scene grow, just because we're so involved, we ride all the time, we kind of know lots of people, and you kind of just see how things are changing and morphing, and you just kind of want to, you just sort of have to move with it, really, otherwise you get left behind.
Like, is that coincidence? You know, it's just working for Vertigo. You get sprinkled with a little gold dust. No, it's amazing what the staff have gone on to do. Yeah, and it's numerous people, which makes me think, yeah, it's not the people we employ are pretty special people. It's cool. Yeah.
Where do we start? It's like kind of some of the notable ones are we had, I guess we've had Seb Kemp's probably one of the more well-known ones. He worked for us for a few years, and he's now, he worked his way slowly from being here, being a writer for Dirt, and like working his way through media, and now he's like, then he got a job at Santa Cruz, and now he's like global brand manager now. He's actually been running the Santa Cruz Syndicate team this year. We've had Henry Quinney, who's just worked at GMBN, Pink Bike, and now he started his own channel that, what's it called again? Sorry, Henry.
Quarter pitch.
Quarter HP.
Quarter HP, yeah, sorry.
Which is cool. James Crossland as well, who is the designer of airdrop bikes. These are the ones he's designed. He's worked here. He worked here for a few years, hence the relationship we've got with airdrop. And also Andy Donachie, who also works at airdrop now as well. So it's really nice little kind of family vibe there between us and the airdrop guys. And Tom Hay as well, who is Elevate Trail Building, who's done all the slopestyle courses around the world for Crankworks and that sort of thing. Who else am I missing out on? Several mechanics have gone to be World Cup mechanics as well, like John Stout, Casey Till, all that. So like really, really cool. Like it makes me really happy and proud that we've like been part of their journey. Like I love that. And
Cathro.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and yeah, we had Ben Cathro working here as well. Casey Brown. Yeah, Cathro was here for summer, and he's gone on to do great stuff with Pink Bike and his own YouTube channel as well. But yeah, just like a real amazing crew of personalities that have all like brought their character and have influenced how the shop has morphed over the years as well. Because yeah, like we are nothing without our staff, and everything that the shop is now is because of them. This beauty here, this was a joint purchase between myself and Jimmy holding the camera. I was on a Eliminator, I'm guessing around about 2001, 2002. It's got the Monster T. It weighs an absolute ton. It's actually a really fun bike. There's not many of these bikes I've actually like taken up the hill and ridden, but that one I have. And it's actually like quite surprisingly legit to ride too. So we actually did like an article for a website, like doing timed runs on this and timed runs on our own downhill bikes, and it was literally only a couple seconds slower. My very first downhill race bike was the TX1, so that was a big one for me to find. So I've got a couple of these frames. I do need to build it up. I've got the parts. But yeah, that one's pretty special for me. That was I think I got one when I was 17 years old. It was one of the first off-the-shelf downhill bikes you could buy. So distinctive and so unique looking. So it's always going to be a special one in my heart for that. A lot of the bikes that I've got here are bikes that I wanted as a kid, which I think a lot of people that buy these sort of bikes end up doing. So there's a few in here which I wasn't necessarily like super fussed about, but most of them are all bikes that I just, like when I was growing up, had photos of like Steve Pete riding on them, or like the Intenses and stuff like that. So now I managed to find some of them quite cheap, maybe over the last 10 years. But they all mean something to me, whether either they're bikes that I rode or they're bikes that I just always wanted to have and I aspired to own. So yeah, the Foes is another one of those bikes that like that just came from a local guy who I got at a good price, and it's a cool bike. It's quite an iconic bike in New Zealand. That one, I think it was quite a popular brand in New Zealand, so I thought it was quite a cool one to have in the collection. Probably like the coolest ones I've got are definitely like the Intense bikes up here, the M1s. I mean, anybody that's a die-hard downhill fan from like my era, like is just frothed over those, you know. So I've got two. The blue one, not too sure. A lot of people speculate that might have been Vanessa Quinn's old bike because it's in that color. I bought that off a local guy who's always, I think he's regretted selling it to me ever since. And then the red one I got sort of like a year after, and that's literally, I don't think it's actually ever been ridden. So that one's immaculate. But yeah, very cool bikes, both with the carbon Dorado forks on there, sort of different eras of the Dorado. But yeah, I'll never sell those ones. So a lot of the pros over the years have come here, and we've helped them out, and they always these are the ones that have come, and we always ask them for a signed jersey. So yeah, we've got some. I mean, there's all sorts there. We had Loic Bruni when he was sort of still quite a young guy on Lapierre team. That was probably 10. I think that was from 2013. That one, so that's quite a while ago. And yeah, who else is on there? Brooke McDonald, Brendan Fairclough, Bernard Kerr, Elliot Jackson, good friend of the shop. The Masters brothers, Marcelo Gutierrez. We don't have everything up there. But yeah, there's a good selection. GT, sorry you can't see it too well there, but yeah, it's a DHI, which this was a bike that, like being from the UK, like growing up racing with Steve Peat, when he was riding on the GT back then, for GT, that was the bike I wanted more than anything, because Steve, when I first started in like that late 90s, that's what he was sort of riding and winning on. So that one, this is like a sort of later model version of that colorway, but yeah, I found that maybe like 4 years ago. I had to have it and I actually rode that one as well. Took it for a lap in the bike park. They say never meet your heroes, but honestly, like, it was as good as I expected it. Honestly, even though it's like an old bike, it was just everything I hoped it would be. It was really, really good to ride. I only did a couple laps because it's got a cracked head tube. So Yeti, another one. Picked that up. That was one of the first ones that I found, actually. Another one of those classics. Someone had listed it in the wrong place on Trade Me, so nobody had actually seen it. I think it was listed under like miscellaneous garden tools or something like that. So I randomly came across it and got that dirt cheap. So yeah, 303 Yeti, maybe sort of like so I might not get all my dates right, but mid 2000s I'm going to say. The one that Sam Blenkinsop famously rode to his World Cup win in Schladming. So unique bike, like it doesn't really like have pivots like a normal bike. Like the rear swing arm runs on like a rail system, which is like real janky and unique. But I know it's just like a super cool bike. Yeti's always kind of been quite an iconic brand, and like the Daniel team back in the day when that was out was just like such a big team. But yeah, just like it's got the original Fox 40s on there when they first came out. So I think it's probably actually not quite original, but yeah, maybe like 2005, 2006 kind of era. But yeah, it's a weapon of a bike. Honestly, don't know a huge amount about the Kiwi. I got it because it's a New Zealand brand. Probably better asking Ceci about that, because they were just all over New Zealand, those bikes. So like in the early 2000s. GTS, gonna say like 96 sort of time, that one. That was like a thermoplastic frame, so with alloy lugs holding it all together. So that was another bike that I desperately wanted. When I used to go riding at my local woods, there was a guy up there who had one, and he used to like have full factory GT kit on. Like I thought he was a professional rider, but he wasn't. He just had all the gear. But I just remember him like hucking off like drops and stuff like that on this thing. He had like the yellow RockShox duties on the front. He looked like so factory and so pro. And I just like aspired to be like him. So this one, it's another one of those ones that just brings back memories to me, and I always wanted one. But the hardtail,
Yeah,
that's actually Tim Ceci, my business partner, big Cech. That's actually his bike from when he was growing up. That orange. Was it a P3 or P7, something like that? So yeah, like he sold it. And he was back in the UK a few years ago, and he bought it back off the guy that bought it off him. So he brought it back, chucked it up there. So 222 would be early 2000s. So I mean, for me, that was just another Steve Pete thing. Growing up in the UK, like Steve rode for Orange in the sort of early when would it have been? Like kind of 2003 sort of onwards for a few years, but yeah, just iconic UK downhill bike, and I raced on one of them for a few years as well, so it just has memories. So this one was actually like a local kid was lapping on this in the bike park, and he'd bring it into the shop to get it fixed, and every time he brought it in, it was just killing my soul to see how destroyed it was getting. So we convinced him we swapped him out for like an ex-rental Giant Glory, I think it was at the time. And he was stoked, so he got like a more modern bike. So I got that, gave it a nice retirement, like fixed the fork and shock and got it all running nicely, and just like put it up there so it can just have a great, graceful retirement.
So we got a couple of Kelly McGarry's frames here, who was a local in the shop.
Yeah, Kelly was like a really good friend of mine. He was one of the first guys I met when I moved to New Zealand. So yeah, I was great friends with Kelly, and this it's not the one that he did the backflip on. So this one was his Rampage bike. I think it was the year after he did the backflip, when he famously did like a canyon gap and overshot it and his front wheel exploded. And there's like a picture of him just like going out the front door like that. So that was this bike, and then we've also got like his slopestyle bike that he rode in 2014 as well, Diamondback. So just nice to have this in the shop as a memory of Kelly. Yeah, so, and his actual proper backflip bike from Rampage is actually in the local bar, Atlas, which I put together after he passed, so I had to like put the feelers out all over New Zealand because he'd sold lots of the parts of it, but I managed to get everything back to how the bike was when he did the backflip in 2013, I think it was. So, but that bike's, yeah, that's an Atlas hanging up for everyone to see and enjoy.
Special.
Yeah, I got a couple of Iron Horse Sundays as well. Obviously, like from my era, Sam Hill was God, and the Iron Horse Sunday was the bike he was riding when he was at his peak. And just, you know, as growing up, there's just posters of him all over the bedroom wall, and just he's the guy you wanted to emulate to ride. You wanted to try and ride like him. And these were the bikes that he rode, so obviously I have to have a couple of these in the collection. This was just this was a frame. I just got this frame only maybe 7 or 8 years ago, and the guy just had it resprayed black, so it was absolutely immaculate. And then, yeah, I just bought a Monster Energy sticker kit for it, just to make it look like how one of the bikes Sam used to ride. And then Sam actually came in to the shop last year. We heard he was in town doing some trail building, so flicked him a message, was like, can you please come down? I need you to sign this frame for me. I was like, please. And yeah, luckily he did, which was really cool. Like, actually, like, even though I was sort of racing in that same era as Sam, he was one of the guys I never really met. So it was really cool to finally meet him and get him to sign this. Or was it 2006, I think. New Zealand hosted the Downhill World Championships in Rotorua. So all the Iron Horse riders got one of these gold frames to ride on. I think there was maybe about 20 of them in total. So it wasn't just like the factory team, it was like all the sort of like smaller teams as well, like national teams and stuff like that. So this was one of the Kiwi guys that raced for Iron Horse at the time. And yeah, this just came up. A guy actually hit me up direct, basically asking how much he thinks he should sell it for. And I was like, how much do you want? And he was really happy to see it go to a good home, like where it was going to be on display. So yeah, it wasn't many of these gold frames, and so pretty special bike for me, this one. Yeah, here in Queenstown, we're open through the summer, from basically October through to May. Yeah, come by, have a look at all the stuff. There's always bits and pieces getting added to it, so there might be some new stuff. I've got lots of like forks as well and stuff like that, which I'm still need to put out. So yeah, come and have a chat. I love talking about like all the old stuff and like hearing about people's different stories and what bikes they had. It was like a really exciting era for bikes, like when all these ones came out, that early 2000s, when like development seemed to just be so wild, and like everyone was trying all these different designs, and hence all these like weird and wonderful things you got to see and ride. So yeah, like I love it. It's like it's a big part of my life and my history. And it's nice to be able to share it with people and kind of display it. So yeah, if you're in town, come by, buy a t-shirt, buy a drink bottle, rent a V10. Take some pictures of the museum. But yeah, we've got a nice friendly shop, so come and say hi.